Well, you won't get a lemon from Toyota of Orange.
Wrestling buddies want to be your buddy.
Drug-free's the way to be.
What do you think you're doing?
Well, Miss Musso, we were just doing a promo.
Welcome to Home Wrestling League.
All right. I am Penny Dreadful, joined by Drew No Gimmicks Needed Bradley and Crystal the Casual at the Unicorn Soundboard, and this is Home Wrestling League. And we now have a clearer road to a potentially bonkers WrestleMania 41. My first note before we saw the end of EC was, welcome to the Meshuggah nonsense that is the road to WrestleMania. It's less Meshuggah nonsense, but it's still Meshuggah, I think. Shit got crazy. Stratosphere. Took right off.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We start with the women's EC, which is always the case. They always start with the women's match, which I guess is fine, during their press conference, which I didn't watch all of because that bitch is an hour and a half, and it's like 50 minutes of Trips and Dwayne just talking. And Triple H said something about, and I didn't catch all of what he said, but he was talking about how he doesn't book the women's matches in the main event just to put them over as the women, and that he puts them there to, if they, with what they're doing story-wise, has earned that spot, which is partly true and partly bullshit because it's the work that gets them there. But I'm thinking what I'm seeing in general is that they put the women's first to start strong and the men's last to end strong. And that's just how they kind of bookend everything going forward, which I guess is fine.
Yeah. When TKO really takes over, we're definitely going to see 2-night Royal Rumbles. We might see a 2-night Elimination Chamber if that's the case. Like, they're definitely going to try to get the most amount of garbage out of that. And it's like them $900 ticket prices for professional wrestling are going to be hilarious.
Yeah, we're already on the way there. They'll definitely do 2 nights for all the big fours. We're already seeing it with SummerSlam. SummerSlam this year is 2 nights or next year?
I think it's this year. It's the beginning of it being 2 nights. Yeah.
Yep. We're already on the way there. It's coming. All right. All of us have been waiting on Jade to make her appearance. And a lot of us expected that to happen this event. I didn't expect it, and I don't think anyone else expected it to be immediately like that. Like, the mayhem started early. Like, she was only able to come in because they hadn't closed the thing all the way. Like, what the fuck? And, I went back and watched it. And, of course, Liv's like, oh, my God. And, of course, the camera focuses in on her. Commentary focuses in on Liv. But when that music hits, you see Naomi's face. She's scared. She knows it's coming by the look on her face.
Yeah, that's why she looks back at Bianca, that real split second. And Bianca's like, oh my God, Jade's back. This is great. And then Bianca's just like, wait, what? What the fuck? No, sisterhood. We went to go see Beyonce together.
Yes.
How did this happen?
Oh, take a moment here to acknowledge Bianca and Nomi's Beyonce-inspired gear. And have they been doing like overtime? Oh my God. I know Bianca usually makes their gear amazing, top to bottom, all the way. I still don't buy that Bianca's not part of it. I'm not 100% there. But the minute that music hit, you knew Nomi was getting it.
Yeah. I mean, I buy it because Bianca's just like, where's Jay? Like, she was the first one on the scene, I think, when that happened. It's like, oh my God, like this, all that. So I bought it, and then her reaction leads me to believe like she was doing some great act. Like, today we're recording this the day of the Oscars. Like, you put all those candidates together, or contested, or people up for the award nominations together for Best Actress, and then the 6th one would be Bianca Belair, and that's how it's gonna be.
Real good job with the crocodile tears.
Yeah. It's like she might be leaving WWE for, Hollywood. Like I said,
Soon
I've
enough.
said this on the podcast before. Like the fact that she's even doing wrestling is amazing for us. Like she's too talented to professionally wrestle. She is much too talented to do this.
You need her. She doesn't need you.
Yes, like people think like, oh, Bianca wins again. Like, no, no, no. She does not need to do this. She could like if Disney was or if Marvel at this point was just like we needed more black superheroes, which they're not after the results of this Captain America movie. But if they were like, we need more black superheroes, Bianca's getting the call first. Like that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. It didn't do well. I heard that it did.
It didn't do Marvel standards. They wanted it to do more, but it just didn't do Marvel standards.
Well, keeping it a buck. When's the last time a Marvel movie did Marvel standards?
Yeah, it's hard to do that. Well, Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's hard to do that when you kind of showed your card and been like, all right, guys, this is the end. Like 2019. All right, nothing like this is the best thing that's going to happen in 2019. In 2020, things are infinitely going to get better. Just not even in movies, but around the world. Like everything after 2020 is going to be amazing, guys.
Famous last words.
Exactly.
All right, so Naomi goes immediately. Has to get dragged out of there. Has to get the the neck thing right away. Okay.
She fucked her up,
Oof.
and like it was a comical like it just kept going. It was like Sonny Corleone just beating the shit out of his sister's husband. It's just out on the street. Remember that in The Godfather, where
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Sonny Corleone territory.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
Jesus fucking her
it's like, stop, it's already dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then she slammed the door on her, and then
Ooh.
and then they had her go out on the stretcher, and I hope they cut back to her so she gives like the thumbs up that like stuntmen do when they're just like when they're knocked out. It's just like,
Good.
and then they left Bianca there to deal with Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan, the consummate white woman, who was just like, it wasn't me.
It's your fault. It's
It
your
wasn't me.
fault.
You did this.
Yes.
And it's pointing
I loved
at
it.
a broken black woman, and it's just like the day after the election was just like, see, I was the bad guy. You're the bad guy.
I do want to take a moment to give Liv Morgan her flowers. Can we please, as a people, stop playing with her and acting like she can't wrestle? So
She's
there's
had a career here.
lot of people like, oh, she's only there because of her looks. Oh, she's not that great. Yo, has improved leaps and bounds, has chemistry with everybody in there, ran the gamut, took the whip, bled. Like let's stop playing with her. She deserves to be there. And she can ball.
Yeah, she's one of the Hooters success stories because she was
She
was a Hooters waitress that wanted to get into wrestling, and she's retired as a Hooters waitress, and then became
Hooters retired.
Yeah. I mean, the way that most Hooter waitresses retire is marrying somebody that could fund their lives.
Marrying the manager of the Hooters.
No, I feel like that can only go so good. I mean, Hooters is currently out of business. Like that's like the internet decided like we go to Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we like women in lumberjack outfits with bigger boobs. So like that's where we go.
The wings were subpar. That was the problem. The wings were never that good.
Well, I mean, I've always thought this. I'm like,
Drew,
what?
your camera's a little. You're out of focus.
Me?
Drew is. It's his turn now. It's his turn to be out of focus. There we go.
The one thing I thought with Hooters is no one's there for the wings. Like Chris Rock said, like No one goes
True.
to Hooters for the wings.
It's true. Yes.
And it's such a bygone product. Like
hmm
the joke online is you just put a bunch of goths and milk looking women there with big boobs, and then that place would be thriving again. Just some 30-year-old milfs and
And
just
some goth girlfriends. Both of them
yes,
have to have large breasts. Yes.
yeah. Because like I feel at Hooters they were just like, if you got a B cup, you can be a Hooters waitress, and I'm like that kind of defeats the point of Hooters.
Oh.
I guess it depends on the bra you wear.
Yeah, no, like I guess, but
Mm.
still. But anyway, like Liv Morgan is the most successful Hooters waitress ever. Like, I mean, she's not a Supreme Court justice, but she's a professional wrestler. So like, it's not like I can't wait until there's a
Not a
Supreme Court.
dedicated civil servant.
Yeah, let there be a Supreme Court justice that is just like, you know what? I'm gonna like. No, she starts off like, you know what? I'm tired of being a Hooters waitress. I'm gonna go get my law degree, and then fucking 30-ish years later, she is on the Supreme Court justice. That would be amazing. That is literally the American dream.
Like if Elle Woods was a Hooters waitress
Yeah, like
instead of a sorority girl.
it's weird that, and I know we're just getting away from wrestling, but I saw there's going to be a sequel to Legally Blonde.
There already is a sequel.
One?
No, a prequel. Sorry, a prequel. They're going to make
there
a
already is a sequel. But okay, there's a
Yeah.
prequel. Is it going to be like when
So
she
it's-
starts college?
A fourth one, but a prequel this time?
Yeah, she's just, or it'll be Elwood in college, and it doesn't really make sense because the prequel is the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
It's
she's
like
in
she was
college.
smart, and then her boyfriend dumps her, and then she was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Harvard to win him back." That's the prequel. But now that Hollywood is devoid of ideas, they're just like, "No, we're just gonna do a prequel to Legally Blonde." It doesn't make any sense, but
You're
there's a
in high
built-in
school.
audience there.
If they do that, or have to see her like in, or are we going to see how she became the Delta News sweetheart or won the Hawaiian Tropic contest? Are those the prequel events we're going to see? Elle Woods goes to Hawaii to win the Hawaiian Tropic contest.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
Now watch. 2 years from now, that's going to be the movie, and I'll be like, God damn, I should not have said anything.
That's
like
probably gonna be it, but you're right. Built-in audience.
some
Oh, yeah.
incredibly talentless writer is gonna be like, that is actually a really good idea.
It is what it is.
God, who greenlit that shit? All right, so of all the women who were in that chamber, I expected Alexa the most because I expected Bianca to be mixed up in the jade of it all, and I still think she should. I thought Alexa would have made a good throwaway match, the sort of match we saw with Bianca and Asuka. Like, they had to put someone in front of her, didn't have the time to develop a good story. So that's what they did. And, they got a Mania caliber match, and that's fine. So that's kind of what I expected here. Never thought I'd say this. I don't think it should have been Bianca because I think they deserve a better, more defined build that they're going to have the time for.
So they really set it up 5 years ago in the Royal Rumble that Bianca won. They set it up. They set it up there. Then they set it up the night after Rio won in WrestleMania 39.
I'm going to challenge you right there. And here's why. There was a gauntlet match, and I put it in the notes, on Valentine's Day 2022. Okay. And in that match, it was a gauntlet match. Rhea got through Piper, who was Doudrop at the time, Nikki Cross, who was ASH at the time, and then Liv before she got to Bianca. And that is when I was like, oh, she's a star. She's going places. At that point, I was like, she's going to win the Royal Rumble one day. She's going to go to the WrestleMania. That's when I was like, yo, she has it and she's going places. So it's been since NXT, like every year they've hinted. And then that Raw after WrestleMania where they came face to face again. I feel like they've been repeatedly playing with us on this. And they could have done more.
Yeah. And this time it's funny because this time they I think that's going to be the night one main event because
Oh yeah. Oh.
because Charlotte and Tiffy is just like, nah, okay, that's nice. But Rhea, Bianca, like
Yeah.
they're on uh, the special edition of WWE 2K24 for a fucking reason.
Right. Yes.
Those guys
Uh-huh.
are stars.
Mhm.
So that I think that should be the night one main event. And both of the Royal Rumble matches are not going to main event WrestleMania because they don't have the juice to do that, and that's fine. But like like there's a there was a quote that when I watched the extras of Reservoir Dogs, and somebody casted Harvey Keitel, and like Kitten Tarantino was talking about casting Harvey Keitel, and like this old producer was just like, he's like, do you have any stars? And Quentin Tarantino's like, casting Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel's not a star; he's a planet, and that's how I feel about things. Like those girls are planets; they're not stars. The old school in me is just like, they're too big for this.
I love that. I guess that's true though, but I don't. I think they have a lot of work to do to get there. It's very funny of them to say, "Oh, Bianca will go up to against Rhea." Please, let's stop playing. Io's not winning against Rhea tomorrow. You stop.
Yeah, they
And it's not
when
that
I
she
saw
doesn't
that-
deserve it, and not that she couldn't. In theory, it's just that's not gonna happen.
yeah, like when I saw that, I was just like, oh, you're just playing in the face, huh? Okay.
In her face. In her face. Other matches we will probably see come out of there. I'm not getting tired of Bailey and Roxanne. If they go to Mania, I will enjoy that again. Like, how is it I'm not tired of seeing that? They're so
Because
good.
they're both incredible performers.
Oh my god!
Like,
And I love Roxanne's tights too. Oh, Roxanne's so good. Ugh, fantastic. And wait.
she's 23 years old.
Oh,
She
she's
was a
a
huge,
baby.
like
She was the first Ring of Honor champ. I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
was when her
Oh,
name
wow.
was Roxy, and then she got signed over to WWE. She's also have a terrible claim to fame in the fact that when Joey Ryan was doing all his nonsense, that was the person who named him in the speaking out about the sexual assault. He was trying to just essentially wait until she was 18 to be like, so what's going on? And she's 23, so automatically I would just like, because that all happened during pandemic, and I was just like, dude, like, dog, don't. Joey Ryan is always a hilarious case because he was not really a good wrestler ever, and then he did this incredible match with the Young Bucks and Candice LeRae that kind of helped his stock.
Did they carry him?
Like the Young Bucks carried him, and then Candice LeRae carried him, and that was the night that was the PWG match that made Candice LeRae a star. And he's just a very average wrestler with a gimmick that had to do with his genitals. That's it. Like nothing more, nothing less. Like that's all it is. And he was a fucking creep. But Roxanne Perez, like, it's a great story. Like, she idolizes, like, she loves wrestling. And then there's pictures of her as a kid with taking pictures with Becky and Bailey. And
I love to see him every time.
And that just shows you the power of the four horsewomen. Like, those women changed wrestling. And I will stand 10 toes down on that. I will forever be a stan of all four of those women. Like, I support women's rights and I support women's wrongs. And, three of those women do a lot of wrongs, but I still support them nonetheless.
We should always support women's wrongs, in my opinion. Women's rights and wrongs, they're both important.
Alexa, if I ever And she's not one of the four horsewomen, but I always go back to thinking of her as being super instrumental to it too, because I love her size, and she's not even the only one that's 5 feet, but for some reason she's the 5 feet of fury one, and she's so good, always amazing. She hasn't missed a step, no ring rust, like nothing, and she's so good at her facial expressions. Like when she took out, I remember who she took out first. I think it was Roxanne, and she did the move and just sat like this, took a breath, and was like she is able to control both all of her moves and her facial expressions just all together. The mixture is just fucking amazing. I love Alexa Bliss. 10 toes, always have.
Oh, you want me to say something? My bad.
I'm finished with that.
Like Alexa is good. The thing with her is I've never seen her, like, anytime she's good, it's always with somebody who makes her look good. Like I've never seen her build anybody. And
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, like that's the one thing about her. And like she was just fodder for 3 of the 4 horsewomen.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
like they basically jobbed to Alexa Bliss to a point. Like even Oscar jobbed to Alexa Bliss. And so that's why not a lot of people, because like she's blonde and tiny and dudes want to bang her. But like people like me, where I'm just like, I don't really see it. And then, she got better, and that's always a commendable thing. So
Mhm.
shout out to her. Yeah, because that's the one where they do all of their finishers to Roxanne, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I always laugh at that. I'm like, it's like she hadn't really, Roxanne hadn't really made it yet. You don't have to kill her like that. And I was like, golly.
I love
And
seeing her in there though. Everybody, all of them, the rent was
Yeah.
due, and everyone did fantastic. They always do.
Yeah, and then because the match essentially starts with Liv and Bianca, and then it
Mhm.
ends with Liv and Bianca. And I'm
Right?
like, well, he's like, well, we're gonna see Liv Bianca again, or no, we're gonna see Liv Rhea again. I was resigned myself to it,
Scared for a minute. Woof.
and then that happens, and I'm like, oh, Bianca might win. And so
Mhm.
once Bianca won, I'm like, all right, this is nice. Like I know WWE avoided Black History Month and all that because they're owned by Republicans, but it was a good end to Black History Month.
Yes, well, sure. Although yesterday was the first, so it's already over, and they played with us the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why I
Yeah.
was just like, it's the first, but
Yeah.
I'll take my wins where I can get them.
Yes, exactly. Moving on to the one throwaway match. This one could have been on SmackDown. Only reason it wasn't was because Trish and Toronto, and you got to pad the card.
Exactly. Like
That's fine.
everybody, I just love the fact that everybody's like, Trish has gotten better over time. I'm like, yeah, she stopped taking bumps after like 31, and then, but like she was like, she essentially was just like, I'm gonna be just hot and then live in wherever and have a baby and then show up every once in a while and people will be like, she still got it, even though she's been working on that one match for like weeks. So like, yeah, it's like I was born in the 2000s. I know Trish Stratus. I mean, come on, like she's incredible.
Yeah.
And you have
One of
Tiffy.
those pave the way ladies, for sure.
And I was raving at Christmas news. And it's weird because like they're trying to make Tiffany a face, and it doesn't really work yet.
You don't think so? I think it's just fine.
No,
I
it's
think
just,
that she had the Healy attitude, but it's one of those instances like with Rhea, where she's too over to be a complete heel. And so they sort of
Mhm.
have to move in that face direction.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, but then they have Candice LeRae and then Nia Jax. And then it's funny watching that match because that's the only match of the night where you clearly knew what the fuck was going to happen.
Yep.
Where,
All every second.
because if you invite Trish Stratus and a bunch of like 50 to 30-year-old men who remember her from a bygone era are just like, yeah, oh God. It's like, I used to buy the WWE magazine and just went to town on it with Trish Stratus. Like,
Ah, ugh,
it's that type of era of shit.
a
But yeah, the
bygone
match,
era now. Thank
yeah,
goodness.
the match was what it was. What it was. I made a joke to Crystal when we were watching it. I was just like, when Nia did the stink face, I said, there's like a bunch of dudes that would be like, this is heaven.
Why not me? It should have been me.
They would pay for
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
And do.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for
It's like, I mean, like it's Nia Jax. She's not a fucking like that's always been the weird thing about the way that they treat bigger size wrestlers like that. They act like they're these just hideous monsters, but like if fucking Piper Nevin walked into your city, like guess what's happening? Like everybody's gonna be like, I'm gonna try to
Oh,
fuck
line
Piper
up.
Nevin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm trying to fuck Nia Jax.
Mm-hmm.
like we said, they do pay for the pleasure.
Character-wise, Candace is definitely she bores me. I don't know what they're gonna do to kind of bring out like any sort of performance quality out of her outside of like her being in the ring. But we all both know. We know. We've said it before. We just said it earlier. She can wrestle, definitely. And I'm happy
Oh yeah,
she's
she's
been
incredible.
getting the opportunity she's been getting to show us what she can do and work. I don't know what they're gonna do to kind of help the character wise, but I'm happy she's been, where she's been with Nia. And at least in this instance, Tiffy looked a little stronger as a champion in this match. They've had her look. They have not been doing well with Tiffy. They've been making her look weak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's
Which- Huh?
she's a lovable doofus.
We'll do this. Stand up. Every time I see him, like, oh, you better put, some concrete in that back. You better stand up straight, girl. Stop.
Yeah,
But at
I
least in
mean,
this instance, that's what they did. So cool. Fine.
yeah, good for her.
Yeah. Like, okay, fine.
Giving the Nancy Pelosi clap.
Yeah, the Nancy Pelosi clap. Or the Dumbledore clap. Okay. All right. Okay. Up next, Sammy and KO. I was fully expecting boiler room vibes. I knew this was gonna be the one where you're like, ugh. And it was true. They did everything that the WWE lets people do. Everything they let people do, they did. Like we don't see fire anymore or attacks much anymore, or plate glass anymore, that kind of shit.
Mhm.
What they let them do these days, they did it. Monitors, ring bells, double tables, knocking out the ref twice, actually, because the first one caught the haluva kick and
And Little Nate came out and then did that.
Poor
And,
Charles.
yeah,
And KO just knocked him right out. 2 blue thunder bombs through tables, one on the barbed wire chair drop toe hold on the chair to the face. Oof.
I love how Sammy sold that barbed wire chair spot because he looks underneath the ring to get a chair, and then he looks around and he thinks to himself, "This shouldn't be here, right?" And then grabs the chair, and it's a barbed wire chair. And then
I think he took out 2 regular chairs before he found that one.
yeah. And then he said, "Well, I guess I'm going to use this on my best friend." I always love best friend matches because best friend matches are just like, yeah, you could just do whatever, and then like we'll drive on the road after this and just talk about the match.
Yes, right?
Like when
But this
when
wasn't Sammy and KO. This was Kevin Steen and El Generico. That's what we saw
yeah,
last night.
El Generico.
El Generico.
I like El Generico better.
Generico. Because I
Yeah.
don't know. I
It's
never heard them
Italian.
say it. So I'm like, well, how am I supposed to approach it? Sure. But
Yeah,
this
I
was
mean
classic
that
Ring of Honor from both of them.
like it's kind of a hilarious 15-year feud. That's like what it started, and that feud is awesome because it even took place in PWG. Like they had like little things that they were doing the entire time. When El Generico disappears for months, and then he gets a package at the end of a PWG match, and it's El Generico's mask, and everybody in the audience knows because they've been following. Like, they're like, oh, so um, that's cool. But the fact that these guys are friends for 15 years and just been beating the shit out of each other, and that's just the storyline where
Yeah.
we're former friends. And Kevin is just like, well, I'm evil now, so let me try to hurt you.
Always slide back and forth. Like so many, but not even that long ago. They were tag team champs. You know, main event in WrestleMania, classic moment. And now we're here. It's just a pendulum with these two.
One of the
Now
best
I'm
matches
not
I ever
mad.
seen live.
Yeah. Oh yeah? Which one? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what makes them great. They can
Yeah.
do both.
Yeah. Like the meme says, get you a person who can do both. That's how it is with them.
Yeah. There were so many instances where I was sure it was the last spot and that was gonna be the pin, and I was wrong. And I was like, oh, the only thing that would have made it more uncomfortable to watch is if there was color. Everything else was there.
Oh, they saved the color for the end of the night.
They did. And did. They're like, no blading in this one because we're saving it. Okay.
In hindsight, that makes sense. Like when friend of the show Tommy texted me and he was saying this match needs blood, and I'm like, yeah, I do agree. And now, like I said, knowing what we know, it was better that they didn't have blood.
Yeah.
Because like that is a match like right with it. Like,
Yeah. So Kevin finally gets the pin. But this is something I noticed throughout the match, where Kevin was just being Kevin Steen, but he had little expression on his face, and he was doing all this to smoke out Randy. And what I think they've gotten good at, insofar as they have to wait for people to get cleared or to run out the APTO, is letting something hit a crescendo and then, you know, bringing someone in. Like with Jade, with Randy, we've been waiting. Blue balls, blue ovaries, you know, is it like, when is this gonna finally happen? Because it has to happen. But he wins, goes to leave, and then he's like, it's not working. There's something else. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this back and see if I can't drag him to the concrete. And that's the moment where Randy's music hits. And KO doesn't even look surprised. It was kind of like Naomi, like she didn't even look surprised. He was like, okay, finally it worked. Turned around, went back in the ring, stood in the middle of the ring and waited like, all right, let's go. I knew this was coming.
It's like
Daddy Big Size is back.
It's like I've resigned myself. And
yes,
then
very resigned, resignation face. Yeah.
Randy Orton comes back and he's just as big as Batista was at his peak.
How did his thighs get bigger? I feel like he put another 2 inches at least.
Pause. But I think like every time I see Randy, he's just like, yeah, I just keep the needle inside the back of my cheeks, and then that's how I get so strong. I'm like Bane. It's like, just pump me up with all the HGH you can. And yeah, that it was one of their best pay-per-views they've done in a while. and they've had two massive returns.
Mm-hmm.
However, the biggest surprise happens at the end of the night. Pat McAfee after the national anthem, I remember that. That was great. Where he was just like, I can't believe they crapped on, they booed the national anthem. I'm like, well, you saw that press conference with the president and the president of Ukraine. So, or the prime minister of Ukraine. Like, how did you think that was gonna go? Like, I would boo them too. They deserve that.
Like, shut up, Pat. Shut the fuck up.
And then and then they don't really even address it because they talk about like Nav being there, who basically is the Weekend, like he's the great value Weekend. He's not the name brand Weekend. He's just like, oh shit, I forgot to pick this up last minute. It's like, oh, they don't have Ziploc. Let me get the great value plastic bags, and that's
He's
Nav.
not the Weekend. He's just like Friday night.
I was like, no, that motherfucker is Tuesday. Like,
Tuesday, worst day of the week.
It's the worst day of the week.
Oh god.
Then the Canadian that has been the ire of rap for the past year was at the show, and at no time do they acknowledge him at all because they were afraid he was going to get booed out of the building. And so there's a part,
Toronto's the only place he feels safe.
well, not even there. Like Kendrick is at New Hall Rice eating Chinese food, like you said in the song, but Yachty's there, and they're just in the background while Michael Cole and Pat and Wade Barrett are talking. And then you're like, man, a year ago they would have been like, guys, Drake is here, and then Kendrick just took all of his lunch. It just took all of it.
Give me your jacket. It's mine now.
Exactly. Like that man had to cancel some concerts because no one was showing up, and now he's back in Toronto. It's not Toronto, it's Toronto. He's back in Toronto. Like, hey, oh my God, wrestling, this is great. And I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if he went backstage and tried to fuck Tiffany Stratton.
Oh God. Now with 6'4" Ludwig around, I hope you know better than that.
Well, I mean, if something happens to Drake, I guess Ludwig doesn't have a job anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Drake gets beat up by...
Don't hurt the celebrities.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Drake and his bodyguard of goons are definitely going to shoot Ludwig. So, knowing what we know about Drake, he probably was trying to fuck Sam Perez.
Probably.
He's like, I'm almost 40. This woman is 23. Let me try to fuck her.
And they highlighted Robbie Amell, who I know who he is, but I never thought he was the type that you would be like, oh, famous person. And then the lady next to him, who I didn't know at all. And that was at the moment where I was like, I wonder if they're gonna say, hey, Drake is here. They did not do it.
Yeah.
They went for the BC D-list people.
Well,
Hey,
yeah,
here.
that's why it had the N next to it for Netflix. Like,
I saw that. Like, they're enough.
it's like, no, it's like, oh, that's right. The big to-do is just like, hey, make sure we see these actors in our stuff.
Yep. I'm sure
And
they
then,
invite them.
Oh yeah. Like, because I don't know. It sounds dumb, but I don't know if he's related to Robbie or if he's related to Steven.
That's his brother.
Like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's one of those things where you don't want to assume.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. I would be at wrestling because they both like wrestling.
Yeah.
Then that leads into the main event.
Men's EC. We gotta take a moment to recognize Seth's gear. Seth can wear anything and will wear anything and will commit 100% to the bit. Seth from Met Gala until it happens, y'all. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Yes. Yes, he has to go one time because that would be incredible. Nobody else is doing it like Seth Rollins when it
No,
comes to that.
no,
Well,
nobody.
TKO would have to foot the bill, and they would be like, "Wait, a bunch
That's
of
20
black
grand for
people?
a ticket.
Is a bunch of black people there? I don't think you need to go there, Seth. But gays and blacks? No. Ugh.
But, one day I keep saying this because I keep getting reminded whenever he wears something insane, we have to do it. We have to dedicate an episode to his fashion choices. We really do.
Yes.
Like a
Yes.
retrospective of Seth Rollins' fashion.
Yes.
Be amazing.
We should. I want to note Logan Paul here because I think he's a really fascinating problem to have. And I have never, in all of my years of watching anything, watching wrestling, seen someone get booed in their home state. They booed him in Ohio. I've never seen that, ever. And
Oh, yeah.
it is kind of crazy. And it's easy to, I kind of guess it's easy to be a heel. Real life heel, all you have to do is have a large personality, be an asshole. That's most people. Add
take,
the, go ahead.
or take footage of a dead person in the suicide force in Japan.
That's what makes you an
That-
asshole. Mhm.
That's what
Asshole.
makes you forever a heel.
Mhm. Asshole, big personality,
Content.
and add in the ability to perform and wrestling heel. You're right there. But the thing is, he can actually wrestle. He's
Right, we've
actually
talked
good
about
at-
how
it's so
he's
weird.
so good at it.
It's I don't. They have a good reason to put him in front of us. Like if you just take out the wrestling part, fine. I don't know how they're gonna keep putting him in front of us. I don't know how it's gonna work. You know what I think is a good litmus test, and I probably think they're moving in that direction. If they can turn Austin Theory face, they might be able to do it. Logan Paul. I feel like they're kind of testing that right now.
Yeah. I mean, the only time Austin Theory would work with people who don't know anything about wrestling and the sordid shit.
Mhm.
Like he could work. Like if you look up Austin Theory on the internet, you're gonna find some shit you don't want to find.
Terrible. That's where they have to start. Like I don't know what they're gonna do with Logan Paul because none of us want to see him ever.
Well,
and yet he can actually perform well. It's very, very confusing. It's a weird problem to have.
but I mean that in turn is great because you don't actually have to like have him win the championship.
Mhm.
Like him winning that United States belt was enough. Like you don't have to have him be the main event like at all.
He can be the
he was
whipping
great.
boy.
He was great. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre were just there.
They were, and I hate to say it that way. I love you two guys, but
Yeah,
they needed to have 6 people in there, and that was y'all.
What? Push the story along. Okay. And Punk, obviously, I mean, I thought he was going to win.
Did too.
And
Punk got his lick back against Paul, thank God, for the Rumble.
Yeah, no, he smacked him.
Yeah,
because he smacked him on Monday,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
he smacked him before he put it on the GTS,
Mhm.
which was great. Seth is still obsessed with CM Punk, but it's that thing where I'm like, we saw the match. We don't need anything else. But they're setting up the 3-way with him and Tribal Chief.
We hope so.
Yeah, and then John Cena came in, and I'm like, and for a little bit, and back in our old podcasting days, I had talked about him coming back, and I said something like, yeah, he might turn heel, whatever. And then as it's starting to go on, and the rumors were Cody and John Cena for WrestleMania, I was just like, I think he has to turn heel for that to happen. And so the match goes, and
Somebody would have had to.
The match goes, then Seth gets kicked out, and then they're fighting.
It took both of them to get Seth out of there.
Yeah, like Seth did not Like CM Punk was kicking out of everything. Like to
Yes,
WrestleMania
everyone's kicking out
17
everybody's
levels.
moves. Damn. Yes. Oof.
It was WrestleMania 17 levels where you're just like, oh shit, okay.
Right? You
Like,
don't know what's gonna happen because everyone's kicking out of everyone's best moves. So
yeah,
what's gonna be the tipping point, you know?
exactly. And but CM Punk was kicking out of way too many finishers. Way too many.
But he wants the main event.
Yeah. And that's gonna be his story, but he's never gonna get it because his body fails on him and he doesn't do steroids.
Ugh.
I say all that to say, when Seth, pulled the Logan Paul that Logan Paul did back in the Elimination Chamber last year, where he stuck in the pod too long just to screw somebody over. He stuck in the pod too long to screw over Randy, and that's what made Drew win the match. Like when Seth stopped CM Punk, I was just like, yeah, that's good. And then you see John Cena, who is always, gee golly, man, just go and pick that and puts him in the STF. And like that was like a mean STF. Normally he does the he stretches out, but that was just like, I'm gonna choke you out and hurt you. And that's when I was just like, I think he's turning heel tonight. Because I hate when people say, I knew he was gonna turn heel. It's like, no, I said that minutes before that happened. There is text proof. You and a friend of the show, Tom, I said I think he's turning heel tonight.
Receipts.
Yeah.
You're underselling it. You were yelling about it.
No, that gets to later. So John Cena wins the match.
I did not even realize that Seth was in there until he came into frame and stomped Punk.
Yeah. And Seth is just like, I'm gonna destroy your dreams too. And I'm like, yeah, no, we saw the Netflix match. Like, fine, go away. But the real main event was everybody looks, and then who's out in the distance? That's right, Travis Scott. And Travis Scott shows up, it's lit. And he's just drinking an energy drink with the hardcore championship that they gave him. And I'm like, that is so interesting of a choice but I know Travis Scott did they're using his theme song theme for the main event for WrestleMania. And I'm like, that's cool. But why is Houston native Travis Scott at Toronto to sell this? And then Dwayne comes out and he's just like, goosebumps. And then you're just like, God, his head's so fucking big. And then he just walks out and then
and the flares, the bell bottoms.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Cody walks out, does the whoa, and he comes out Dwayne comes out looking with the flares, looking like Elvis, and he's just like, Cody, what? Like, I want your soul. What are you gonna choose? And then Rody Coates just decides to be like, I left my soul in the ring. I do it for the fans. So Rock, go
I'm a
fuck
champ
yourself.
Was that really the first F-bomb?
That is the first F-bomb in WWE history.
I was sitting there.
The first not
like,
bleep one?
Yeah.
Not bleep, yeah.
I was like in shock. I was like, did he just say the F word? Like, I'm a dork who doesn't know how to say fuck. But I was like, he just said the F word.
Yeah, normally they don't do it. And if we hear it, it's definitely bleeped. I was like, is that really the first time? Huh.
So, yeah, because when The Rock did the stuff with Cody last year and just like, this is what you fuck with the tribal team, they bleeped it. But this is the first unbleeped F-bomb. And that's when the audience is going crazy. Because like now you got Cody 100% on your side. And I'm like, the longer John Cena was in the ring, I was just like, yeah, he's turning. He's turning.
Oh, man. See, I fully expected, and I was I talked to XD, friend of the show, in Instagram DMs, and we were talking about Jade, and I was like, did Cody and them and Rock and them get you? Because I was surprised. And he was like, I thought Cody was going to turn heel, which is what I thought too. I thought that John Cena would be instrumental in Cody turning heel. This is not what I expected. And now that, we're going back and looking at the hints and being like, oh, here and here and there. Okay. And there were spots throughout the match where camera zoomed in on John Cena. And I was like, his eyes are so blue. So blue. But then at that moment where, the planets line up and it's Rock and Cody and then John Cena behind them. And his eyes literally got darker. Like his entire face changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, John Cena's a thespian. He's an actor.
Well, I mean, everybody was saying that John Cena can't turn heel. He started off like heel, and then he turned over into babyface and was like babyface for 20 years. The thing that's really funny is John Cena is a heel because if you watch Total Divas, that is the man.
That's what everyone's saying. Like,
that man is a psychopath.
Tell me one or two things that he did or said, because I'll get into it, but I don't know.
There's an episode where him and Bree want to go out to dinner, but she already ate, and she went over her allotted calories. So John Cena was pissed that she went over her calories. There is the Total Bellas, where they're living in the house and they have the house rules. John Cena has two pages of like house rules and things that you can do, and you have to wear blazers to dinner, and it's just nonsense. He never really liked Brie, or never really liked Nikki. Like through an entire time you're watching this, you're like, this is a guy who does not like his girlfriend, and she's just there because she's hot.
Oof. Blazers to dinner.
Yeah.
In my own home, bitch. Okay.
Like he is a monster. And I feel like once, like he has the single worst marriage proposal I've ever seen in my life. When they win that match, yes, they win the match, and verbatim, John Cena looks at Nikki. He's like, he has the ring in his hand. It's just like, this is what you always wanted. And that's how he starts off his proposal to Nikki Bella. This is what you've always wanted. Like, who does that? What type of person does that?
No, that was insane when you told me that story. I was like, I can't. What? Why?
I personally, in general, hate the concept of a public proposal. You got me fucked up.
It's always a bad idea.
No way. Always a bad idea. But WrestleMania is the biggest possible place to do.
Right. That's like, if you're doing a public proposal, that's something you have to discuss ahead of time. They're both thinking about marriage at some point, and that if they're cool with it, maybe it'll happen. Like they won't know when, but it won't be like, I've never even talked to you about this.
Yeah.
It always seems to be that too.
Yeah, because it's always that. And then like when the person's like, I don't know or no, it's like, what did you expect?
He's like, well, shit. Like,
yeah, no, public proposals are never a good idea. Like I said, unless you've already discussed the possibility of it with that person.
Or both of you are just equally crazy.
True.
Yeah. The same kind of thing.
True. That also works.
So
I just know. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just so yeah, John Cena always had the penance to be healed. But what were you gonna say?
There's a lot of reasons why Philip is gonna go into the Hall of Fame. And I think chief among those reasons is the pipe bomb and how he has all of us calling Rock Dwayne. Because I know Philip right now is like, again, Dwayne.
Just keeps taking this
again.
Hey, well, you know, nasty work, but yeah. So when that happens, I'm just like in my living room, just like, yeah, this is great. I guess it's one of the best heel turns they've done in forever because John Cena was initially supposed to turn heel in 2012 because CM Punk, they were going to try to make him the main babyface.
Mm-hmm.
But the company didn't really believe in him. So, like, at the last second, they changed him back because John Cena was selling way too much merch financially, it would have made no sense for them to do that.
Yeah. No, it doesn't
Um,
matter. He's at the end of it. Is okay.
yeah, exactly. It's
Mhm.
like, that's why the towel says the time ends now or something to that effect.
Yeah. I was like, every time we see him, it's another shirt and another graphic. Ugh, everywhere you go, something different.
Yeah. So
And they really
this,
like played up the props here, like the weight belt with Dusty Rhodes' date when
yeah,
he died.
yeah,
Oh.
that's when your
And
soul left.
shit. And there's some point where Cena is, opening up Cody, and Michael Cole is like, "Hey, he's got brass knuckles," and they zoom in and like, "No, bro, that's the Rolex."
Yeah.
Woof.
Uh, I said to Crystal, it's hilarious because all in 90 seconds, you get the go fuck yourself. You see Travis Scott light up a joint, and then you see John Cena turn heel. All in 90 seconds. Because the commentary was hilarious because they were just like, "Is he burning sage?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, brother." Like
That was like,
that is
and Chad was
sage.
like, "That's burning sage in the corner." I was like, Sure,
He's got to smudge the ring. He's
Mhm.
got to clear that energy.
It's just like I just you see John Cena and The Rock and then just Travis Scott. Like that is just such a weird combination of people. It's just like two balding men on HGH and then Travis Scott, the guy who knocked up one of the Kardashians.
I don't remember who I saw say. Maybe I can like find it and put it in there or something. But they were like, "Well, it's not the first time Travis Scott just stood by and watched somebody die." And I was like, "Points
It's
made."
lit. Um,
Like, of all of the fucking celebrities you can have and insert in that situation, why that one? Ugh. Yeah.
like that was just such a weird thing because I told Crystal, I'm like, this is reminding me of was it the movie Putney Swope? But people know it as the scene in Boogie Nights with I met this guy, I shaking his hand, Alfred Molina. Alfred Molina, where Alfred Molina is the drug lord and they're there to go get coke. And then in the background, you see this Chinese kid and he's throwing poppers and shit. And Alfred Molina's so high, it's just like, oh, don't worry about him. He's Chinese. That like it had the same composition. Because Travis Scott is in the back just smoking and just whipping the thing around. And then just like John Cena is just playing to the crowd. And then Cody's behind him and The Rock is just there. So I'm like, that is the closest thing to Paul Thomas Anderson movie you will ever see on professional wrestling.
Deep cut.
Hmm.
Oh God. Well, it took publications, I guess, as long as it would take to pull together a meme to compare this heel turn to Hulk Hogan's heel turn. And I mean, no longer than 20 minutes before I saw it. Like, I don't know how it's gonna match up, once everything's said and done. I mean, look, historic heel turn, historic moment. I still don't know what we're going to see between now and WrestleMania, because even though now we know what we're going to see at WrestleMania, we still have a month and a half to get there. And at the press conference, Rock was like, Cena just got here this morning from Budapest, and he's already on a plane going somewhere else. So how much are we going to see of the two of them in the weeks leading up to it? They're going to have to do a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. John is definitely going to have to come in and do some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the moment it made me realize that whoever wins between Gunther and Jey Uso which at this point, if it's not Jey Uso, then you wasted everyone's time.
Ugh.
But if whoever wins between those two um, is going to get the Money in the Bank cash out.
Oh.
Yeah, because the Money in the Bank is 2 months after Mania,
Hmm.
and I just like that's I could see it. Like I could see it like coming a mile away. Like whoever wins that is definitely going to be the person that gets cashed in on.
Yeah. Successful. Ooh. Hmm. Successful cash in, do you think?
Oh, sorry, I dropped my earbud. Yeah, it's going to be a successful cash in.
Okay. All right. Put a pin in that one.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, more often than not, I'm right about a lot of things when it comes to wrestling, but
Yes.
like because Cody's too big, and they
Mhm.
don't want to end his championship reign like a dork.
The door.
So yeah,
Don't go out like a punk.
yeah, and
But
you
today,
know,
how do you think that the Cena heel turn compares to the Hogan heel turn?
um, the Hogan's heel turn meant more because like this is before like dirt sheets and the internet was there. So like
Yeah.
if you were watching it at the time, you're just like, oh fuck, like Hulk Hogan turned heel. That is
Mhm.
insane. But with this, it's more like we've seen him be a heel before, but it's still a big deal because
Mhm.
like he wanted to turn heel a while ago, and he finally got to do it because they have somebody who sells as much, if not more, merch than he does.
Mhm.
So you know, like they were able to pull the trigger, and now he's has like 10 good years of heel ideas in there.
Yeah.
Like he made a heel theme back in 2012 that you could find on YouTube. And he also he got singlets made because if he was going to go heel, he was going to completely change his gimmick. So like there's an episode of Total Bellas where they're like pretending to wrestle, and he comes in with this singlet, and it
Mhm.
says like embrace the fear, and that was going to be his motto at the time. So I'm interested
Okay.
to see if I'm interested because he's gonna have to change the theme. Then he's gonna have to
No more jorts.
um, no more jorts. He's gonna have to come out just wearing something different, and
Mhm.
it'll be good. Like shout out to John Cena. Like it's awesome. Like I'm
R.I.P. to
glad
the
he
jorts, though. Those are iconic.
yeah. Like it's good old John Cena.
It's just as good of and an impactful of a heel turn. I think ultimately, and I think time will tell with it. I think ultimately it's just as much of a shock, but won't be as impactful to wrestling in general because
He's quitting.
he's quitting. It's
Yeah.
short lived. It's to help put over a guy who's already over. So it's going to be kind of it's a bookend to a longer career, and it's not gonna it's not gonna do what Hogan turning heel did with bringing in the NWO and how huge and impactful that whole thing was, because that brought in a whole brand new kind of era of wrestling and a whole new group and put over those guys. I think it's just as surprising, just as whatever, all that kind of stuff, turn upside down, that bullshit. Overall, I don't think will be as impactful, but I was like immediately, oh, we're gonna see that comparison, and 20 minutes tops for me to see it.
Yeah. You are right. You are 100% right. Because I just now we live in a society where you have to be the first to say something, and it's either mid, which white people destroyed as a sentence or as a word, or it's like the greatest thing ever. We just can't. We don't have enough time to sit with things anymore.
Yeah.
Like with media, with anything, like
Yeah.
it's always you always have to be the first to react to something. So I'm
Mhm.
interested to see how this goes. Um, John definitely needs to wrestle a couple more matches, or at least one more match before WrestleMania.
You think so? Who do you think it'll be?
Yeah, I think it's most likely going to be R-Truth, and like because
Sure.
he's John Cena fan, and John
Yeah.
Cena turn heel, and R-Truth will come out there doing his yakety schmackety, and then John Cena just beats the ever loving fuck out of him, and
Mhm.
then it goes to WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and
They
yeah,
still have a lot of booking to do because they got what 8-9 hours of a show to get through, and we still have what 4 matches. There's only maybe 2 more that came out of tonight.
yeah, it's all
Last night I
championship
was there.
matches. It's all
So
championship matches, but TKO is doing like 5 match cards and all that, so it's more time to breathe. But last year it was like 7 matches each, but there was more time to fill. Like
yeah,
Vince McMahon would jam all of them fucking matches in there. It'd be like WrestleMania 9 hours. You're here from the start to the end. Like
yep,
spending a 2 night, like you know, don't want to say thank God for the pandemic, but like the splitting it in 2 nights was the best thing that they did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially money wise,
Oh yeah.
they gotta make the money. Yeah.
Yeah, I paid for 2 nights of parking for WrestleMania 39, so yeah, they're making money.
Do you
$60 each.
think we'll see Roman involved in this thing with Cody and Cena?
No, like Roman is destined to be with Seth Rollins because he needs to get his lick back.
Yes, does.
Um, CM Punk is there because he's not going to wrestle WrestleMania. That's going to be a triple threat. They
Mhm.
haven't announced that. And then Drew McIntyre and
Damien, book it.
Damian, like just 2 big motherfuckers just fighting
Mhm.
for another time.
Mhm. Over
Uh,
pride. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. Well,
Right.
they kind of alluded to Finn Balor and Braun Strowman, or not Braun Breaker, and I think that's when the Demon's going to come back and actually win. So
I hope so.
yeah, because I was
Need a change there. God.
I was so excited to see the Demon, and then him losing to a 50-year-old man makes no sense. That was like the match that second night where I'm like, what in the fuck? Because it's a fucking cage, like it's second night of WrestleMania 39. Because it's a cage match, and I'm like, he's bringing out the Demon, and then he ends up losing the Edge. I'm like, that is stupid.
Ah. Hmm.
It's like I don't give a fuck about Edge. Like the fuck?
Cope.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cope.
Cope. A
Mm.
quick moment, because I haven't seen all of the collision stuff, but there was a spot that Tony Storm did because they're gonna run back Tony and Mariah one more time, and it was looking very Kubrickian. That lighting was awash.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
I
was,
was like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, because I watched that promo
Mhm.
yesterday, and then that's when she challenged her for no DQ.
Mhm.
I wish I had money, but I would definitely go see. I would definitely go see
What they do
Revolution.
there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Revolution for
Mhm.
all the matches, and then when the main event starts, I would have walked out because I don't care about Moxley and his terrible storyline, and I don't give a shit about Adam Copeland and his decision to go by half a last name. Just tell me that he's going to lose that match, and then Christian is going to cash in. That's all I need to know because that is what's going to happen,
Mhm.
and then everybody's going to be pissed, and then Darby Allin's gonna, decide not to die at fucking Everest, and then he's gonna come back and be the savior of NXT. But until then,
Along with Ricky
I don't
Singh.
know. Shout out to, he got out.
Yeah, I'm never calling him no Ricky Saints. I'm sorry. That's Ricky Starks. It's not
Yeah.
gonna work. And I miss that music. Ricky Starks' music was some of the best fucking entrance music. Man, it was awesome.
Dun, 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 dun.
And he really sold it too. I loved it.
Zydeco. Yeah, because he's New Orleans. Like,
Yeah.
I love that mulatto wrestler. He's one of the best mulatto wrestlers we have.
One of the best mulatto wrestlers. And I have to take a moment to eat some crow as far as, Ricochet is concerned. I thought he would get lost in the shuffle over there because I thought, AEW had met their quota of flippy light skins. I guess they didn't, because he's actually doing a very interesting program with Swerve. It's actually very good stuff. I was wrong. Okay. When I'm wrong, I can say I'm wrong.
It's hilarious when you understand that Ricochet is essentially Andrew Tate. Like, that's his character. He's just being Andrew Tate. And you're like, oh, okay, this all makes sense. That's why he's a dork.
Yes. That's why he's a dork. Okay. That brings me to where you can follow us on social media. At YouTube, we're at Home Wrestling League. We still do some posting on the Nazi Hellscape, Twitter, at @the_HWL. And the other Loser Billionaire runs Sandbox on IG and Threads. There we are at Home_Wrestling_League. That's where I do all of my yelling at, perfect strangers. We still need community, even if it's been commodified and bastardized to hell, right? We still need it. We still need it. When do you think we'll be back? Do you want to cover Revolution or do you want to cover Mania?
I think, part of me wants to cover Revolution, but I feel that it would be too late in the day on a Monday to talk about it.
Because they do Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're probably just gonna come back in Mania. We'll have stuff until then.
Yes.
Please check out our interview with
Maximilian Montclair.
Montclair. No,
we had a great time with him.
We had a great time, so go and watch that. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have a surprise video with with a returning guest in the middle of March. Check out what we got.
But we'll see you again soon, and we'll see what the fuck Dwayne and John are going to be doing in this run up to Mania. Crazy times, y'all. Crazy times.